I printed off a list of all the state objectives. And we were gonna be on top of those. I wanted him to be ahead. And then we got into homeschooling and I realized I just didn't really care about those things. Different things started mattering to me.
Hey everyone, this is Yvette Hampton. Welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I am so excited that you are with me this week because we are talking about one of my favorite topics, and that's the holidays. We are at the beginning. I was going to say in the middle, but we're kind of at the beginning of the holiday season. And I don't know, maybe we're in the middle because if you went to Hobby Lobby back in like August, they already had Christmas stuff out. So maybe we're in the middle of it, right? I'm not exactly sure what you would call middle, beginning, and I don't know. We are in the holiday season. And so we're going to talk about the holidays this week. I have a new guest with me. Her name is Sheri Renno, and she is from Our Life Homeschooling. She has an amazing blog, an amazing YouTube channel, and she has brought so much encouragement to me. And I know she is going to bring great encouragement to you as well. But before we get into our conversation and introduce Sheri to you, I want to say thank you to our sponsor, BJU Press Homeschool. If you're looking for great homeschooling curriculum that's taught from a strong biblical worldview, check them out at bjupresshomeschool.com, and they've got something for every family. I think they even have holiday stuff. I maybe shouldn't say that. But if you're not sure, and I'm not sure, we should just go to the website and check them out because they've got everything there. bjupresshomeschool.com. Well, Sheri, welcome to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I have had so much fun chatting with you before we hit that record button. You are a new guest to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast, and I'm so excited that I discovered you. It was, I don't know, I guess a couple of months ago, I discovered your YouTube channel, and you've got some really fun YouTube videos on there, and you have an amazing blog, and you talk about Christmas and Thanksgiving and the holidays, and I thought, oh, this is perfect because I wanted to have somebody on to talk about this topic of the holidays. So for those who are not yet familiar with Our Life Homeschooling and you, Sheri, introduce yourself and your family to us.
Okay. My name is Sheri. I'm a Christian homeschooling mom. I'm married to my husband, Nelson, we've been married for 24 years. We were high school sweethearts. We met in geometry class, so neither of us is very good at geometry. We have 10 kids. The oldest is 19. The youngest is 20 months. So one graduated, 7 that were homeschooling, and 2 preschoolers. And we're just very thankful for them.
Yeah, so fun. Tell us really quickly how you got started with your blog and your YouTube channel.
Yes, I started back in 2022. We had been homeschooling for a while, and I just wanted a way to encourage other moms that were behind me. I had so many people when I started homeschooling, so many moms that were ahead of me that I really just clung to just find out, how do you do this? What do I do about this? And they were my cheerleaders, and they really kept me going on some of those hard days. And I hope to be that person cheering on those other moms. I love seeing dads getting involved in homeschooling, and I love how homeschooling has really brought families together.
Yeah.
But I also know realistically, my heart is for moms because a lot of moms are at home doing a lot of the academic work, and I just want to encourage them and cheer them on in the great work that they're doing in their homes. Well,
you're very good at it, and I think it's important to just park there for a second because we need to be encouraging one another, right? I mean, we talk a lot about community and the importance of community. And sometimes I think because we have social media and we see all these other moms on social media and we see them making videos or their, reels, all these things. And we're like, man, they have it all together. Why am I not able to do it as effectively as them? Why does their house look like it's perfect all the time, and their kids are always doing their schoolwork, and they always have their perfect schedule laid out, and they stick to it. And I think it's so important for us to just be real with one another and say, you know what? Sometimes our day is really messy, but let me help you walk through your day in the midst of my messy day, because I know that your day is messy too. And so we can just all be kind of messy together, but encourage one another. It's so important for us to encourage each other, even if we don't have it all figured out. And so you've been doing that for a long time, even though you're still in the thick of homeschooling.
Yes,
so
very much. Yeah. And it really does look messy sometimes, but I think remembering the why,
Yes.
remembering especially just the eternal perspective of the legacy that we're leaving for our kids. We have such an opportunity to influence them and to influence the next generation. And on some of my hardest days, it's easy to lose sight of that.
Yes.
And that's why I do think encouragement is so important.
Yeah, it really is. I don't want to park here too long because I want to get into talking about the holidays. But you mentioned before we hit the record button that you had been a public school teacher prior to having kids and prior to homeschooling. Talk really quickly about that transition of going from teaching in a classroom to all of a sudden now you're going to homeschool. What did that look like? Did that make it easier? Did it make it harder? What was that experience like for you?
Yeah. When I started teaching in the public school, when I started homeschooling, the first thing I did, it was our oldest son, and he was starting kindergarten. And so I printed off a list of all the state objectives. And we were gonna be on top of those. I wanted him to be ahead. And so that's kind of where we started. And then we got into homeschooling, and I realized he was going way ahead in certain areas, and in other areas, I just didn't really care about those things. That wasn't what mattered to me. Different things started mattering to me. And so our perspective just totally changed. And everything we were studying in science, in math, I wanted it to be seen from the perspective that this is God's design. This was his idea. It originated with him. We're just seeing it for, this is the first time we've seen it, but it originated with him. And so my whole perspective changed, and I wanted education to come from that point of view. And yeah, we've been going strong ever since. My husband has been my biggest encourager. There were, when we got into it a couple years, and especially when we had all young kids, there were some really hard days, and he would come home and I would just give him this look like, I don't know, I don't think I can do this. And he started believing in it so much that he was like, you can't quit. What can I do? I'll step in. I'll step in here. I'll do science. What do you want me to do? I will step in, because he just really believed in the difference we were making in our kids' lives. Yeah,
he saw the value in home education, which for your family, I know, was discipleship.
Yes.
And so that's such an exciting place to be as a couple. There are a lot of moms I know who really want to homeschool, and their husbands are like, yeah, okay, you can do it, but they're really hands off. And then there are dads who really want to homeschool, and the mom's like, there's no way you're going to get me to do that. And so it's really, it's exciting when both mom and dad are on the same page and they're a team. Even though mom is doing the majority of the work, having mom and dad together is such an important thing. So we've got lots to talk about. We are going to get into the holidays, but we're going to take a break first. We'll be right back. Have you tried CTC Math yet with your child? Here's a testimonial from another happy homeschool mom. Amber said, I'm absolutely thrilled with CTC Math. It's a rare find that I've used with my children for more than 5 years now. I have 6 children using CTC Math, and each child has found it easy to navigate and very applicable. Thank you so much for all that you are doing in providing quality math lessons for my children. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com. That's ctcmath.com. Join Apologia for the Homeschool Bootcamp, a free video series that provides practical guidance and wisdom from experienced homeschool parents. You'll discover how to equip your family for academic, social, and spiritual success. Plus, you'll discover how to build deeper and stronger family relationships. Homeschool Bootcamp covers how to break free from the public school mindset, daily planning, supporting students with learning challenges, homeschooling as a working parent, navigating the high school years, and much more. Find this incredible free homeschool resource at apologia.com/bootcamp. We are back with Sheri. Let's talk about the holidays, because this is so fun. I have fall decorations out. I don't yet have my Christmas stuff out. And I know there's always the debate of when is it too early to listen to Christmas music? My daughter actually asked me. So right now we're recording this at the end of October. And she's like, can we start listening to Christmas music? I was like, not until November. Though in years past, we certainly have listened to it before November. But this year, I feel like, I don't know, last year I felt like Christmas just dragged on for a really long time. And so I thought this year I want to wait until November to actually listen to Christmas music.
Yeah.
Because then it, I don't know, kind of overtakes Thanksgiving. Anyway, whatever.
And it gets lost.
And it gets lost. Yeah. But I love the holidays. I love everything about them. I love the hustle and the bustle. After Halloween, I hate Halloween. I want nothing to do with it. I wish it wasn't a thing. But after Halloween, I feel like, oh, okay, we can breathe and we can enjoy these holidays. And I feel like even as Christians, sometimes it's hard to separate the Christian holiday from the secular holiday, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about how we can live differently as Christian families and really keep Christ as the center of the celebration of Thanksgiving, of Christmas, of even the New Year and all the things that we celebrate in between.
Yeah, I think the holidays, I know at least for me, sometimes take me by surprise. It just comes up quickly and it's like, oh, wow, it's Thanksgiving. I got to get going.
Right.
And when Christmas comes, it's like, oh man, here we go. It's here already. It happened. And before we know it, we just kind of get sucked into the commercialism, into our to-do list. And that just kind of consumes our thoughts. And we don't always pause to think, what kind of legacy are we leaving for our kids? You know, they see everything that we do. They're with us. And whether we like it or not, we're transferring something to them.
Sure.
And, just like that verse in scripture where it talks about the disciple isn't greater than his teacher, but when he's fully trained, he's going to be like his teacher.
Yeah.
They are picking up. Yes, they're picking up on so much that we're doing. And what are we handing off to them? What are we leaving them with? And what are they walking away with when they have their own families? What kind of traditions are they going to keep going? Because they're following our example. So I think just stopping and pausing to think about that and what do we as Christians want to pass on to them? It should look differently than the rest of the world.
Yeah, it absolutely should, because instead of us always being anxious and, overwhelmed by the holidays, we need our kids to see that, okay, the holidays can be a huge blessing. It can be a time of enjoyment and family and really focusing on Jesus. I know for our family, for Christmas especially, we have books that we read. The Greatest Christmas Pageant Ever, of course, is our favorite. I love that book. I talk about it.
That's ours too.
I love it. I talk about it every year. I'm like, people need to get that book if they haven't read it, because it is so good. But even for Thanksgiving, I know that there are books. Do you do that? Do you have specific books that you read for Thanksgiving, for Christmas?
Yes.
For the different holidays?
Yeah. Well, for Thanksgiving, one of my favorite books, I have a couple. I have a couple that I have listed on the blog, but one of my favorite is one by Barbara Rainey. So her husband does Family Life Today. Yeah. And she goes through the Thanksgiving story. And what I love about it is that there's large print if you want to just large print intermingled with small print. So you can read the whole story for older kids, or if you have some younger kids, you can just read some of the large print sections and it takes you through more quickly. Okay. And it has just pictures of just artifacts and things that art prints throughout time of the Thanksgiving story. And it's very Christ focused. Just talking about, there were just some amazing stories in it of how one of the sailors was disobedient to the captain's orders and refused to take I think they had to take lemon juice or something for their vitamin C so they wouldn't get scurvy. He was disobedient and he was the only one that got sick. And she brings in faith into the story so many times, and how the Lord providentially brought them to the new world. And it's really neat. It also has a CD in the back that has a whole bunch of hymns that are kind of centered around the theme of Thanksgiving. So as soon as I get that CD out and play it for my kids, it's almost the same as when they hear Christmas carols. They hear that CD and they're like, oh, it's Christmas or it's Thanksgiving. It's time.
Yeah. Does the CD have vocals on it, or is it just the music?
No, just instrumental.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's well done. I think it's actually Barbara Rainey playing, if I'm not mistaken.
What is the name of the book?
A Time to Remember. Thanksgiving, A Time to Remember.
Okay. We'll find that and put a link to that in the show notes. What are some other traditions that you and your family have at Thanksgiving time? Or do you have traditions? Do you have, I mean, to be honest, we have Christmas traditions in our family, but we don't really have Thanksgiving traditions. Like, it's always fly by the seat of our pants. It's never usually a stressful holiday, but Thanksgiving is always something a little bit different for our family. So do you have specific traditions besides reading this book? Are there other things that you do?
Yeah, pretty much just our read alouds we do. But then we will take a day or two before Thanksgiving and we'll do just the basics, reading, writing, math. And after that, we'll spend the rest of the time prepping. And I just count that as part of our day of school. So my older girls will make some of the dishes that we're taking to our different family get-togethers. And it just takes the pressure off, I think, because we're making our homeschool life fit around our family life. Yeah. And some of those things that we have to get done, we're just making it a part of our life. And so as far as traditions, other than getting together, my husband's family has a very rich tradition of singing hymns. So before the Thanksgiving meal, we always sing a hymn. Oh, that's I so love neat. That. It's something that we definitely want to pass down to our kids. Yeah. That's probably the biggest one I can think of. Yeah, that's really cool. I did think of actually, I guess this is more just my side of the family, that we've had this tradition. This is such a terrible, the tradition is wonderful. But this one particular memory that I'll share is really horrible. So we have a tradition on my mom and dad's side that we would always go around before we would eat. We would pray, and then everyone would go around and say something that they were thankful for. And I just so vividly remember I had this uncle. He was not a believer. He absolutely did not believe in God. And so he didn't get offended when we would pray, but he would just kind of roll his eyes and put up with it. And I remember one year it got to him and he said, "Rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub. Yay, God." And I was probably, 10 at the time. And I was like, oh, I was just so deeply offended that he would say that. And I thought, well, I guess maybe he's actually thanking God for the food. I don't know, in his own weird way. It is, yeah. But, oh goodness. Well, we'll put links to that book that you shared in the show notes. And I want to talk about Christmas, but we're just about out of time. So tell us really quickly where we can find out more about you and your blog, your ministry, your YouTube channel, all the things that you've got going on. Okay. You can find me on the blog, ourlifehomeschooling.com, and also on YouTube. I do one video a week, and my tagline is homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms. So some of them are day in the life videos. Some of them are just talking, giving tips, encouragement for moms. Yeah. So fun. Well, you do a great job with it. I've watched several of your videos, and it's really fun to watch you with your little kiddos. Oftentimes you're in the kitchen. Oftentimes you're baking something. Do you do a lot of baking in your home? Actually, my older girls do most of the baking. Okay. They love it. So that is a huge perk of having older kids. Yeah, I agree completely. I tell my girls that's the only reason I had them was so that they would cook for me. Yeah. Because I don't like to cook. Yes. Yeah. Same here. Yeah. So fun. All right. Well, we'll put those links in the show notes. Thank you, Sheri, for being with us today. And thank you guys so much for being with us as well. I hope your holiday season is off to a great start, and that this week will just encourage you to keep Christ as the center of your holidays. Stay tuned to the very end to hear what's coming up next on the podcast. And if you have not left a review, please do so. Just go on whatever app you're listening to this on or whatever platform and leave a review. Tell people why they should listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and share it with your friends. Have a great day. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. Bye.
We've got an urgent situation. If we knew we were in a war zone, which we are because we live in the middle of a spiritual battle, we would not say, well, let's take a few days off while the battle's going on. We're called the spiritual battle. Let's step up and take responsibility for that.
even if we're able to push the evildoers and the totalitarians back for another generation, if they've got the young people, it's over.
I often think about Daniel's parents, who you don't hear anything about. But they must have laid down the foundation for Daniel to be able to go into Babylon and not fall.
This is Yvette Hampton, host of The Thinking Dad. Join us for the first season at thinkingdad.net.
In our family with 10 kids, there have been times where there were just so many things that went wrong. And accepting it really made all the difference. Being okay with burned cookies or the Christmas gift that just is not coming on time.
Yeah.
That is just, it's how we respond to it really that makes all the difference.
Yeah.